Have you ever wondered why the same patterns keep repeating in your life? Why certain people or situations seem to always show up at the right time? Or how your thoughts can shape your reality in ways you never imagined? The truth is, there are ancient laws, universal principles that govern everything in the cosmos. They are as timeless as the stars, shaping the very fabric of your existence, whether you're aware of them or not. These laws are not just philosophical concepts. They are powerful forces that influence the energy around you, your relationships, and even your destiny. What if you could tap into these forces and align with the flow of the universe? What if understanding the 7 Hermetic Laws could unlock new possibilities, elevate your life, and give you the tools to manifest your desires with intention? In today's video, we're uncovering the hidden truths of the 7 Hermetic Laws. These laws are not just metaphysical concepts. They are practical tools that you can use right now to elevate your life and reconnect with the universe's most powerful forces. Are you ready to understand how everything is connected? To learn how you can harness these ancient laws to bring more harmony, success, and abundance into your life? Let's dive deep into the mysteries of the Hermetic wisdom. Have you ever wondered what governs the forces of nature, your thoughts, and the events in your life? What if the universe itself follows a set of universal principles, shaping everything from the stars in the sky to the smallest details in your day-to-day existence? The 7 Hermetic Laws are ancient principles that offer profound insight into the nature of reality and how everything in the universe is connected. These laws come from Hermeticism, a spiritual and philosophical tradition based on the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, an ancient figure regarded as the messenger of the gods, a philosopher, and a guide to spiritual wisdom. The wisdom within these laws has been passed down through millennia, influencing a wide range of spiritual traditions, from alchemy to modern metaphysical teachings. But their significance goes beyond just theory. They have the potential to transform how you see the world, yourself, and the energy that flows through every experience. So, what are these laws, and why do they matter? In essence, the 7 Hermetic Laws explain the fundamental dynamics of the universe. They reveal how everything operates in a flow of interconnectedness, guiding us to understand how our thoughts, actions, and the energy we put out into the world shape our reality. These laws are not just abstract ideas. They are living principles that govern everything we experience, whether we are conscious of them or not. Each law is a building block in understanding how we can align with the natural order of the universe, unlocking our true potential and transforming our lives. The first law, the law of mentalism, teaches us that everything is created from thought. The second, the law of correspondence, reveals that everything in the macrocosm mirrors the microcosm, reminding us that we are connected to the larger universe. The law of vibration states that everything in the universe is in constant motion. The law of polarity explains how opposites are the same force in different forms. The law of rhythm shows us that everything moves in cycles. The law of cause and effect underscores that every action has a consequence. Finally, the law of gender teaches us about the balance of masculine and feminine energies within all things. As we begin to dive deeper into these laws, it's essential to understand that they are not just theoretical concepts. They are laws that influence our daily lives. They govern the energy flow in your relationships, your mindset, and even the circumstances that manifest in your reality. In this video, we will break down each of the 7 Hermetic Laws, uncovering their hidden meanings and how you can begin applying them in your own life. These ancient truths will help you navigate life with more clarity, peace, and understanding. And as you align with these principles, you'll start to see just how connected you are to the universe, how every thought and action is part of the greater dance of creation. Ready to dive in? Let's explore how the 7 Hermetic Laws can unlock the mysteries of the universe and guide you toward living a more powerful and purposeful life. Everything you see, feel, experience, and become begins in the mind. The law of mentalism is the first and most foundational of the 7 Hermetic Laws. It teaches a profound truth. All is mind. The universe itself is mental. Creation did not begin with form. It began with thought and continues to be shaped by it. That means everything in your external world was first created in the invisible realm of consciousness. The chair you sit on, the phone in your hand, the emotions you carry, the life you are living, all of it began as a thought. But what does that mean for you? It means that you are not a passive observer of reality. You are a creator, and the canvas you are painting on is your mind. Your thoughts are not just reactions to the world. They are instructions sent out to shape it. Every thought carries frequency. Every belief becomes a blueprint. And whether you're conscious of it or not, you are constantly creating your reality from within. If your thoughts are chaotic, fearful, and full of limitation, the world around you begins to mirror that inner state. But when your thoughts are clear, intentional, and aligned with truth, life begins to organize around you in unexpected ways. Have you ever noticed how a single thought can shift your entire emotional state? How a belief, often formed years ago, still influences how you act today? That's the power of the mind, and mentalism explains why. The law of mentalism is not asking you to suppress negative thoughts or force yourself into false positivity. It's inviting you to become aware, to begin watching your inner dialogue, to question the stories you've accepted as truth. Because once you realize that your mind is the source of your experience, you stop waiting for the external to change and begin transforming it from the inside out. This law also teaches that the universe itself is the mind of the all, the divine source, God, spirit, however you name it, which means your mind is not separate from the greater mind of creation. Your thoughts are not isolated. They are part of a collective stream of consciousness that we are all contributing to. This is why intention matters. This is why healing your thoughts doesn't just change your life. It ripples outward into the lives of others. So how do you begin to work with the law of mentalism? Start by observing. Pay attention to your inner monologue. Is it full of doubt, fear, blame, and repetition? Or is it rooted in clarity, truth, and purpose? Notice the patterns, the stories, the identities you've built, and then ask, is this thought creating the life I want to live? If not, you don't have to fight it. Just choose a new one. Choose a thought that supports your expansion. Choose a belief that aligns with the vision you hold deep inside. Mentalism reminds you, reality is not happening to you, it's happening through you. When you reclaim your mind, you begin to reclaim your life. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop living as a victim of circumstance and become a conscious architect of your destiny. This is not magic, it's law. Invisible, but always at work. You don't need to change the whole world. You only need to change how you're seeing it. Because the moment your perception shifts, so does your reality. You are not just a thinker, you are a channel for creation. And the more aware you become of the power of your own thoughts, the more aligned you become with the truth behind all manifestation. All is mind, and your mind is sacred. Have you ever looked at something small, a leaf, a drop of water, a moment of emotion, and felt like it reflected something much greater than itself? The law of correspondence reveals a universal truth that ancient mystics knew deeply. As above, so below, as within, so without. This law teaches that there is harmony, agreement, and connection between the different levels of reality, from the cosmos to your inner world, from the invisible to the material. Nothing exists in isolation. The micro mirrors the macro. The personal reflects the universal. This law is not just poetic, it's practical. It means that if you want to understand the greater patterns of the world, you only need to look within. And if you want to change your outer reality, the first place to begin is inside your own mind, heart, and energy. When your inner world is in conflict, your outer life will echo it. When your mind is chaotic, your circumstances begin to reflect confusion and disorder. But the reverse is also true. When you cultivate peace, clarity, and alignment within yourself, the world around you begins to reorganize in resonance with that state. Have you noticed how people often attract situations that match their beliefs? How someone filled with self-doubt seems to meet rejection at every corner, while someone who walks with self-trust tends to be met with opportunity. That's correspondence in motion. The outer world doesn't exist apart from your vibration. It reflects it, interacts with it, responds to it. But this law goes beyond the personal. It applies to the cosmos, to nature, to the movement of planets and the rhythms of your own breath. The same intelligence that moves galaxies is the one that moves through your bloodstream. The same patterns found in nature, spirals, seasons, cycles, live within your soul. This is why astrology, sacred geometry, and energy healing are all rooted in correspondence. They understand that everything reflects something greater. Everything holds a deeper pattern. So how do you use this law consciously? Start by becoming aware of your internal state, your thoughts, your emotions, your dominant beliefs. Not to judge them, but to recognize the mirror they create. If your external world feels disconnected, unfulfilling, or chaotic, pause. Instead of trying to fix it out there, look inward. Ask yourself, what is this reflecting back to me? What inside me is asking to be seen, understood, healed? This is not about blame. It's about empowerment. The law of correspondence reminds you that you are not separate from the world. You are in relationship with it. And that relationship begins with how you treat yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you choose to see yourself. When you heal your inner wounds, life begins to flow differently. When you shift your internal dialogue from fear to trust, the people and opportunities that appear begin to reflect that new vibration. When you start honoring your own worth, the universe meets you with affirmation. As above, so below is not just a phrase. It's a map, a way of navigating life with awareness, a reminder that you are not small, not powerless, not lost. You are part of a grand design, and everything within you is a reflection of the divine order that holds stars in place and seasons in motion. When you live in alignment with the law of correspondence, you stop feeling like life is happening to you. You begin to see the sacred dialogue happening all around and within you. Because when you shift the within, the without cannot help but follow. What if everything you've ever experienced, every thought, every feeling, every physical object, was not solid, but vibrating? What if the entire universe, including you, is made of energy in motion? That's exactly what the law of vibration reveals. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. This hermetic truth dismantles the illusion of stillness and separation. From the densest rock to the subtlest thought, all is in a state of constant movement. Even what appears solid is simply energy vibrating at a slower, more condensed frequency. And what feels light or ethereal, like joy, love, intuition, vibrates higher, faster, and closer to the energetic source of all things. The implications of this law are massive, because if everything vibrates, then you are not just a passive being in a physical world. You are a living, breathing frequency, constantly sending out and receiving energy. And what you emit, you attract. This is the unseen language of the universe. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are vibrating. Your dominant emotions, thoughts, and energetic states become your broadcast signal. Whether you realize it or not, you are always in communication with the field around you, and the field is always responding. Have you ever noticed how certain people seem to shift the energy of a room just by entering it? Or how some places feel heavy, while others feel light and expansive, even if nothing is visibly different? That's vibration. And the same is true within you. Your emotional states carry frequencies that either elevate or contract your reality. Anger, fear, guilt, these hold dense, slow vibrations. Love, compassion, peace. These vibrate higher, closer to the source. But this is not about suppressing the low frequencies or forcing yourself to always be high vibe. It's about awareness, about learning to feel the vibration of your state and choosing alignment. So how do you apply the law of vibration? Start by observing your emotional tone, not just fleeting feelings, but your baseline vibration, the energy you wake up in, the energy you move through your day with. Ask yourself, what vibration am I choosing? What thoughts am I feeding? What feelings am I carrying unconsciously? You can shift your vibration at any moment, through breath, through gratitude, through music, movement, laughter, connection, through choosing presence over projection. When you consciously raise your vibration, you're not just feeling better, you're tuning into a frequency that calls in people, situations, and opportunities that match your expanded state. The law of vibration also teaches you that nothing is ever truly stuck. Even the most painful experience, the heaviest emotion, is moving energy. And when you bring conscious attention to it, when you allow it instead of resisting it, you begin to transform its frequency. You help it move. You release the density. This law empowers you to see yourself not as a victim of your circumstances, but as a vibrational being with the ability to shift your own field, and with it, your reality. Everything you want, peace, love, clarity, healing, already exists as a frequency. You don't have to chase it. You only have to align with it. Because the universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your vibration. And the more in tune you become with your energy, the more effortlessly life begins to flow. Have you ever felt torn between two extremes? Love and hate, light and shadow, clarity and confusion, wondering how both could exist within the same experience? The law of polarity unveils one of the most transformative truths of Hermetic wisdom. Everything is dual, and yet everything is one. Polarity teaches that every concept, emotion, and state of being exists on a spectrum. What we often perceive as opposites, hot and cold, dark and light, peace and chaos, are not truly separate. They are two expressions of the same essence, existing at different degrees. Just like temperature moves from hot to cold through gradual variation, every experience you face has a counterpart that exists on the same scale. This isn't just philosophy, it's energy. There is no absolute cold, only degrees of heat. No complete darkness, only absence of light. And no pure hatred that isn't born from love distorted. The law invites you to see beyond the illusion of separation. It's not that there's good or bad, it's that both are part of the same whole. And your perception determines where you're standing on the scale. So why does this matter in your daily life? Because when you begin to understand polarity, you stop resisting your own complexity. You stop labeling certain parts of yourself as wrong, weak, or broken. You begin to realize that your sadness does not cancel your joy. Your fear does not erase your courage. They simply live on different ends of the same current. This awareness opens the door to true transformation. Because if everything exists on a continuum, then every state can be shifted. You don't need to eliminate fear. You can move it toward faith. You don't need to destroy anger. You can transmute it into power. Every negative emotion carries within it the seed of its positive counterpart. And through awareness, you have the ability to shift vibration from one pole to the other. Polarity also reveals the spiritual truth hidden within struggle. When you find yourself deep in a state of discomfort, conflict, or pain, the law reminds you, the opposite is already within reach. The depth of your current emotion is proof that its counterpart exists within you. This is why some of the most enlightened souls have walked through the darkest nights, because darkness becomes the teacher that reveals the light. Have you noticed how the greatest moments of growth often come after deep inner chaos? How your capacity to feel joy increases after facing your deepest sorrow? That's polarity in motion. The universe is always bringing balance, and in that dance of opposites, you are being called into integration. This law is not asking you to deny one end in favor of the other. It's calling you into wholeness, to recognize that your human experience contains both, and that wisdom lies in embracing the spectrum, not escaping it. When you stop judging the poles and start navigating them consciously, you begin to master your inner world. You can meet pain with compassion, hold space for contradiction, and walk through life with a deeper sense of grace. You no longer fight against the tides. You learn to flow between them, knowing that all of it is sacred. You are not either or. You are both and. And when you embrace the full spectrum of your being, you step into true power. Because opposites are not enemies. They are mirrors, leading you back to the truth of your oneness. Have you ever felt like life moves in waves, rising, falling, flowing, pausing, without your control? One moment you're inspired, aligned, full of momentum. The next you're slowed down, reflective, unsure. It might feel like inconsistency, but what if it's something deeper? What if life is rhythm? The law of rhythm reveals that everything in the universe moves in cycles. Nothing stands still. Everything flows in and out, rises and falls, expands and contracts, just like the ocean tides, the moon phases, the seasons of the earth, or the beat of your heart. Existence dances in patterns of movement, and you are not separate from that dance. This law teaches that for every peak, there is a valley. For every inhale, there must be an exhale. Rhythm governs the breath of the universe. It reminds us that life is not a straight line. It's a spiral. And the more you resist its movement, the more suffering you create. But when you learn to flow with its rhythm, you begin to experience grace. Have you noticed how even your emotions follow this law? How joy swells, then softens into calm. How sadness arrives, lingers, then lifts. How energy surges through your body some days, and others it asks for rest and stillness? These are not flaws in your design. They're signs of your alignment with rhythm. The mistake many make is trying to force a constant high. We glorify productivity, endless output, always being on. But nature doesn't bloom all year. The moon doesn't shine full every night. Your spirit too requires seasons of quiet, of retreat, of inward motion, so it can rise again renewed. When you reject the fall, you resist the rise. The law of rhythm is also a powerful teacher of trust. Because when you find yourself in a low season, emotionally, spiritually, or energetically, this law reminds you, this will pass. Nothing stays down forever. The pendulum always swings back. Your job is not to stop the rhythm. It's to learn how to move with it. To stop fearing the descent and start honoring it as part of your expansion. So how do you apply this in daily life? Begin by observing your own cycles. Notice the rhythms of your energy, your moods, your creative flow. Do you give yourself permission to rest when your body asks? Or do you force forward motion out of fear? Can you allow your inner winter without judging it? Because how you treat your lows determines the strength of your return. Learn to surf the waves instead of resisting them. Use high energy periods to build, create, and express. Use low energy times to reflect, restore, and go inward. Both are sacred. Both are necessary. This law also applies to relationships, finances, healing, and even spiritual growth. Sometimes you'll feel connected and overflowing. Other times, disconnected and still. Don't panic in the ebb. It's preparing you for the next flow. Don't cling to the high. It will return when the timing is right. When you align with the law of rhythm, life no longer feels unpredictable. It becomes poetic. You stop fighting the timing of things. You trust the intelligence of the cycle. You honor your seasons. You move in sync with the universal breath. Because rhythm is not your enemy. It is your invitation to dance, to rest, to rise, to return. Have you ever wondered why certain things happen, not just in the world, but in your life? Why some events feel like coincidences, while others feel like consequences? The law of cause and effect strips away the illusion of randomness and reveals a deeper truth. Nothing happens by chance. Every effect has a cause. Every cause sets an effect in motion. This Hermetic principle teaches that behind every event, circumstance, or experience, there is an originating force, a thought, a choice, a vibration. Whether you are conscious of it or not, you are constantly planting seeds through your words, your actions, your energy, and those seeds grow into the reality you experience. There is no such thing as luck. There is only law. This doesn't mean everything that happens is your fault, but it does mean that your life is responding to you, to your beliefs, your choices, your inner frequency. Every thought you feed creates a ripple. Every emotion you allow gains momentum, and those ripples return in form, in feedback, in the energy life brings back to your door. Have you ever noticed how certain patterns repeat? How the same kind of person, situation, or lesson shows up again and again? That's not punishment, it's reflection. It's the law at work, giving you a mirror to your own vibration. Until the cause changes, the effect will echo. The law of cause and effect is empowering because it reminds you, you are not a victim of life. You are not at the mercy of outer circumstances. You are a creator, constantly shaping your future through the causes you set into motion today. So how do you begin using this law consciously? First, by becoming radically aware of your choices. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every action you take carries energy. That energy becomes movement. Movement becomes impact. Impact becomes result. Ask yourself, what kind of causes am I creating? Are my intentions rooted in fear or in trust, in reaction or in purpose? This also means taking responsibility without self-blame. Not everything that happens is within your control, but how you respond always is. And every response becomes a new cause. Every moment becomes an opportunity to shift direction. One of the most beautiful applications of this law is in healing generational or emotional patterns. Maybe your past was built from causes you didn't choose, inherited beliefs, wounds, or limitations. But the moment you become aware, you have the power to plant new seeds, to become the cause of a different future. Even in the unseen, this law is always working. The inner shifts you make today may not show immediate results, but trust, the effect is coming. The universe does not ignore intention. The energy you put into healing, love, truth, or growth will return. Maybe not in the way you expect, but in the way your soul needs. This is also the law behind karma, not as punishment, but as balance. The energy you put out must return, not because the universe is judging you, but because it is fair, neutral, exact. If you sow peace, peace returns. If you sow bitterness, it echoes, not as fate, but as invitation to choose again. When you align with the law of cause and effect, you stop waiting for life to change and begin becoming the source of that change. You realize that every thought is a choice. Every choice is a path. Every path is shaping the story of your life. You don't have to control everything. You only need to become intentional. Because once you understand the power of this law, you'll see nothing is random. Everything is connected, and you are the cause. When you hear the word gender, do you think of biology or something much deeper? The Hermetic Law of gender is not about physical sex. It's about energy, universal, cosmic, spiritual energy that moves through all of creation. This law reveals that everything in existence contains both masculine and feminine principles. These two forces are not opposites, but complements, and balance between them is essential for creation, transformation, and wholeness. The masculine is not about being a man, nor is the feminine about being a woman. These are archetypal energies that exist beyond form. The masculine is structure, action, direction, logic, giving, asserting. The feminine is intuition, receptivity, nurturing, flow, being, allowing. Both are divine, both are sacred, and both exist within you. The law of gender teaches that all creation is born from the union of these energies. Just as a seed, masculine principle, must be received by the soil, feminine principle, to create life. Every manifestation begins when idea, masculine, and emotion, feminine, come into harmony. Without both, nothing is made real. Have you ever felt burned out from constant doing, pushing, forcing outcomes? That's an excess of masculine energy without feminine rest, receptivity, and trust. Or have you ever felt stuck in dreaming, imagining, but unable to move forward? That's feminine energy without masculine structure and action. This law shows us that imbalance leads to stagnation, confusion, or collapse within the self and within the world. In modern society, we are often taught to overvalue the masculine, productivity, speed, discipline, logic, and in doing so, we suppress the feminine, feeling, softness, intuition, stillness. But when one is repressed, the other becomes distorted. True power comes when they are brought into union, when the inner masculine protects and channels, and the inner feminine feels and flows. So how do you apply this law in real life? Start by asking yourself, where am I out of balance? Are you always in control, afraid to let go, to receive, to trust? That's a call to awaken your feminine. Are you endlessly drifting, dreaming, but lacking structure, boundaries, or movement? That's a call to strengthen your masculine. Masculine energy sets the intention. Feminine energy allows it to unfold. Masculine leads. Feminine listens. Masculine penetrates. Feminine holds. Both are needed. In creation, in relationships, in healing, in growth. This law is also about recognizing and honoring the masculine and feminine in others, not as roles to be judged, but as energies to be respected. In your relationships, are these energies in harmony or opposition? Are you giving from overflow or from imbalance? Are you receiving from wholeness or from need? As you begin to balance these forces within yourself, life takes on a new rhythm. You move from force to flow, from fear to trust, from reaction to response. You begin to embody the sacred union, the divine dance that gives birth to everything. The law of gender is not about choosing a side. It's about integrating both. When you allow your inner masculine and feminine to work together instead of against each other, you step into a deeper power, a power that creates not from control, but from harmony, not from lack, but from union, not from division, but from wholeness. Because you are not just mind or heart, you are direction and intuition, you are strength and softness, you are the seed and the soil, and in the balance of both, you become creation itself. Now that you've walked through the 7 Hermetic Laws, you may be asking, how do I actually live this wisdom? How do I take these ancient principles, mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender, and bring them into the real moments of my life? The answer is simple, but not always easy. Begin by becoming aware. These laws are already operating. Whether you believe in them or not, they are shaping your reality. They're not switches you turn on. They're frameworks to align with. When you understand them, you stop feeling like life is random, punishing, or chaotic. You begin to see the deeper rhythm beneath the noise, the sacred patterns that govern everything. The first step is inner observation. Notice your thoughts, mentalism. Notice the reflections in your life, correspondence. Feel the energy you emit, vibration. Watch your reactions and recognize duality, polarity. Move with your natural cycles, rhythm. Take responsibility for your choices, cause and effect. Balance your inner forces, gender. You don't need to memorize the laws, you need to embody them. When something triggers you, ask, what is this mirroring back to me? When you feel stuck, ask, am I trying to force a rhythm instead of flowing with it? When you're chasing something external, ask, what vibration am I truly sending out? When you feel divided inside, ask, how can I unite the masculine and feminine within me right now? Living by these laws is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about choosing to walk through life as a conscious being instead of a reactive one. It's choosing to ask what's true beneath the surface instead of staying trapped in the story. And over time, you'll begin to see the shift. You'll notice that the more aligned your inner world becomes, the more harmonized your outer life responds. Synchronicities increase, relationships deepen, opportunities unfold, not by chance, but by alignment. You become a co-creator, a conscious participant in the rhythm of the universe. These laws are not rules to obey, they are invitations to remember that you are not separate from the cosmos, that your life is not random, that every thought, emotion, and intention carries the power to shape your path. So take this wisdom and begin where you are. Breathe, observe, feel, reflect, align, and above all, remember, the laws are not outside of you, they are you. They live in your breath, your heartbeat, your awareness, and the more you honor them, the more life begins to honor you.